Unfortunately, due to a technical issue, the following episode of Elite Cadre was recorded with excessive background noise. While every effort has been made to remove this, some will remain throughout the recording. Hopefully, this will not affect your enjoyment of the show as a whole. Thanks for listening.
Hello and welcome to Elite Cadre, the Washington podcast that doesn't take itself too seriously. I'm Mike.
I'm Kurt.
I'm Nick.
I'm Tom.
Excellent. We're all here. That didn't take 2-3 takes, honest. Yes.
Much.
No. Anyway. We are here for another dose of War Machine-y goodness with an actual topic this week, which quite frankly just hurts my brain when I think about it, but okay, we're allowing it. There's some sense of
Topic's not
organisation.
that complicated.
The topic itself isn't that complicated, but when do we actually have a proper topic and stick to it? That's a great
Even
question.
more, it was your idea.
I know.
Even more, the topic was your idea. That's even more weird.
Yeah, I know. First of all,
Here we go.
we do have some snippets of news. First of all, we should get rid of the elephant in the room, the equivalent of let's say the modern day Bushido. It is the Phantasm.
Oh, see, I was waiting to jump in with that at the end. But yes, Phantasm. Phantasm's been previewed and is now up for pre-order. Gigantic, flying, elven warjack. What more do you want? Christmas come early.
Not to be stabbed in the eyes every time I lean over the table.
I think it's going to do that. Definitely going to do that.
That thing looks yeah. It's very hard. It's very hard.
This may shock you. Are you sat down, Mike? This may shock you. But I made a proxy. In fact, I made 2 proxies of them. You're very shocked, I can tell. And they are very spiky, even in cardboard form.
Paper cut your opponents.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Doubles up with a ninja star.
I'm sorry, I've just seen one of its abilities. Phantasmal Field. This model gains +1 death against ranged and arcane attack rolls for each focus point on it. And death 14 colossals. Come on. Come on.
Death 16 with Gravewind.
It's a Phantasm. No one knows where it is.
Why is this?
That's the idea. Can't shoot it. If you don't know where it is and you can't see it, you can't shoot it.
Okay. Have you been playing with your proxied Phantasm?
So I did with the pre-rules. So I have had it on the table once, maybe twice with the not quite leaked, but leaked rules that were leaked. And they are very, very similar to what's actually come out. There's not massive changes. There are a few. I can't think of any, but there probably are a few little ones here and there. I did put it on the table. Any colossal is hard to keep alive. Because we all just target the hell out of them because they're giant, heavy warjacks that, they are more survivable, or they are more resilient, rather. I hate that misuse of that word. They are more resilient than a heavy is generally, but they still go down.
And if you take them
and
off the
the
table,
damage output is worthwhile.
that's 30 points usually off the table, which is
It
pretty
is.
big.
The nice thing about this one is it's only like 27 at the bottom end, which is quite nice.
26.
I'm just looking at it now because I've not looked at the rules yet, and that's horrific. I don't need a powerful attack on a range 3 melee with crit decap.
Definitely.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
I haven't played it predominantly because I'm quite focused on Chimera at the minute, so that's why I haven't, and why I haven't yet pre-ordered. So I'm still currently riding the Chimera bandwagon and enjoying Chimera. So so Dusk. Much as I did enjoy playing a lot of Dusk, and I did play a lot of Dusk, it will wait. I'm debating if I order it at the end of the month. I might do. We'll see. You can all take the piss anyway.
Well, as Dom and I are discovering, whether you order it or not seems to be a bit of a moot point at the moment. Now, I can't remember if there was an exact reason given as to why, but there has been something of a delay in Old Umbre coming out, which is
So I've
disappointing.
heard, more than disappointing. I'd heard on the grapevine, I don't know if it's all rooting back to the same one rumour, but apparently a shipment from Poland from their manufacturing had to be rejected on QC, which, I mean, on one hand, yeah, it's great that they're rejecting it and not just waiting for the claims to come in, but it does mean a long wait.
I
realised you have yours. Yeah.
I did.
So
I did notice that my mini crate model this month. They've been coming from a Polish manufacturing place beforehand, but the new mini crate model that I've had, which is a replacement, don't ask why, is not from the Polish place that we're working with, which I think was DTR.
I hadn't noticed, so that's my lack of observations there.
Oh, well, there you go.
I can tell you where my mini crate came from.
I have a Magnus sat downstairs ready to build.
I haven't got one of those yet. I haven't got a Magnus yet.
Yeah.
I just chased that.
I was there for the month that Magnus was on, and then skipped the Chimera month, and SFG switched them. So I got a Chimera model. I was like, can I have my Magnus, please? And I went,
That has happened to a few people. One of my regulars has had that exact same issue as well.
I have a funny feeling that even though I was there for the Boom Howler month, and I've now skipped the, is it Crucible Guard one? It's on at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Skip that one. I'm getting a funny feeling the same thing's going to happen there again, but we'll see.
I didn't skip anything, but I missed Magnus. I need to follow up and complain. I just was being lazy.
Okay.
I thought it might just turn up by itself without me having to do anything, but it hasn't yet.
I think with them being now 3D printed and them not theatrically smashing molds every month, it's a little bit easy to get replacements, but don't quote me on that. So.
Yeah. No, you're probably right.
But if you do end up with a spare Crucible Guard, I know someone who could be interested.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. I'm sure all these models will find good homes eventually. They always do. So, but yes, going back to old Umbre, they were meant to print on the 3rd, I believe. Then we're delayed till today, and it is after close of business UK and question
no
marks.
shipping notice.
So
what was doubly painful is it's been, I think we're pretty much 2 months now since we had any new Umbre news, considering them to be a June release.
Yeah. I think what's happening there is that they're not giving out the next tranche of stuff until, there's widespread availability of the first lot, because that's the point where it's in people's hands and they're happy with stuff and they'll go, oh, I can buy some more now. But I think they've revealed one more model, but no rules, and they're being very, very canny on when they're releasing things. So I think there's definitely consideration of that, yes. Sorry, go on.
The cynic in me wonders if it's also covering a hesitant and just biding their time to allow the supply chain to catch up to the quote-unquote overwhelming pre-orders.
Oh, yeah. I think there's... supply has always been a massive issue with War Machine for one reason or another, and I think we are stuck dead in another case of that right now. Old Umbre was previewed. It's a very different faction to anything that's in War Machine at the moment, so I think a lot of people went, ooh, we'll have that. And it's coming just after Gravediggers, which seemingly everyone and their dog has bought Gravediggers. There's like 5 Gravedigger armies doing the rounds at Warsaw at the moment. It terrifies me. Just sat there going, oh, I'm going to have a nice another Warjack here, another Warjack here, and then I'm going to have this here that means I'm not knocked down. Like, sure, yeah, this is, oh boy, this is a lot.
It was an ambitious release schedule that they had.
Oh yeah, no, I have no qualms about that. Like putting out that amount of miniatures in that amount of time on a scale that they weren't necessarily ready to ramp to immediately. It was always going to be a challenge, and
they've had a few other successful board game releases lately as well, right?
Yeah.
They have.
We've seen stuff for Rainbow Six Siege. Was there an Elden Ring follow-up to the Dark Souls board
game.
Yeah. And there's another IP as well.
Helldivers.
Helldivers.
Yep.
So I imagine that those are also adding in for taking up space for their
but
production capabilities, right? I know they're very different.
Yeah.
There'll be different facilities and stuff like that, but there's still an element of it.
The manufacturing will be different, but the manufacturing is different, but the actual orchestrating of it and the sort of the management of it is the same people, isn't it? So
exactly. So the second you have to change a shipping container because something's been rejected by QA, and then it just throws everything into havoc.
I would say that it's likely not a zero-sum game, as it were. In that having a second successful IP means that you have like a different team to manage that, different production facilities, because it's a different material, whatever. But yes, there will be some time that's eaten up and some opportunity cost in getting various things delivered. I know, for instance, they're having some supply issues already with the paints again. So that's something potentially to raise on the concern radar a little. Hopefully it is only short term, but yes. Sorry, Dom, cutting off there.
I think the pinch point for the one that affects everything is the support. And I saw a stat, I think China posted on Facebook, saying that they've increased their service desk capacity by 67% in the last however long. And they are catching up on their tickets. But that service desk support console is the one bit that has to capture everything.
Yeah.
Everything they're doing.
I think it's on the Zendesk or Freshdesk or something like that, has been on fire for months. There was a point where I think you were talking about they were like a month almost in responding to tickets. And
massive delays, yeah.
And then that got down to about, I think, by the time my next one went in, a couple of weeks. And hopefully now they've picked up, they're finding that slowly falling again. Because, it seems like the most first world problem. It's like, when I want support, I want support. It's like, yes, but there have to be people there to do it. And it's not exactly, oh God, this is very business. It's not exactly a profit center for the business. But it does drive repeat custom. Oh God, I feel so dirty.
But you should stop now.
Yeah, true.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, it's good to see them getting on top of that. But yeah, I think they're a business with growing pains, and they have taken on a lot in the last couple of years. Hopefully they can sort it out. But yes, we'll see what that goes. And in fairness, what I've seen of Old Umbre looks lovely. I don't quite know how all those models go together to form the different beasts, especially so seamlessly. Because certainly the lesser is ridiculous.
Yeah, there's an image of the wolf to is it the flying one?
The flying pig, yes.
Yeah, and that looks so cool.
Yeah.
Between the two, and just the way it clipped together differently. That's smart.
Yeah.
So smart.
Whoever's worked out how the ferals should work, is like they've got a very smart head on them. Because there's like there's 4 head combinations, 4 back combinations, which liking that. I'm also liking that.
Feels like a Rust conversation at some point, isn't it?
Yeah, no, might be, yeah. But on top of that, I'm also liking the fact that Kador now has access to spiny growth, just to annoy people.
That would annoy me. Yeah.
It's one of those animi that just whenever you go in there and start hitting something with spiny growth, there's just this feeling in the pit of your stomach going, "Oh no, this is gonna hurt." Especially when you go.
Kador having it, not Legion. Kador having it.
Yeah, so you're gonna go in.
That's the bit. You're right.
You're gonna hit the primeval for 1, and then someone's gonna roll a d3 and go, take 3 back, and just the first time you do it, you're just gonna hurt so much inside.
It's the I had the name of it before I said it. But yeah, the heavy Legion beast used to have it all the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Carnivian. There you go. Carnivian.
Dom, you've been kind of experimenting with stand-ins for Old Umbre, haven't you?
Yes, I had a game there is a decent correlation between Umbre models and Grimkin models, actually, I've realised. So I've had a game using my convention Bodan sculpt, a Clockatrice of the Strix. I did have to cobble together the Chosen, but there is enough there that you can actually look at something, you know exactly what it's meant to be. And I'm reinforced in my view that Bodan is a high skill floor, even higher skill ceiling warlock. He has the very definition of old man stats. He in my game, he did die to a stiff breeze. A couple of useful lessons there, but the work that everyone else managed to put out was really nice. Really interesting.
The fact that he's got that 14-14 stat line, which, as you said, old man stats, but combined with the crow that has shifter. So yes, you can use a ranged attack to hit an enemy 8 inches away, teleport Bo down there, and just be sat there going, oh no, this 14-14 warlock is now sat closer to the enemy army. Maybe this was a mistake.
You just have to be really sure that you're going to kill what you've shifted to.
Yeah, with his POW 9 staff.
Yeah. Or that's when you feat and you have Veromi come and stand next to him.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. There are always options. There's Befuddle. You're going to use insight to take anything down that's near him. Yeah. He's got options. But I can see he does look like he go down like a sack of spuds. If anyone so much has looked at him. So
yeah, I made one placement issue and I got punished for it horrifically.
After the game, and we were sort of having a post-game catch-up with all our games last week. It did make me think of playing Old Man Severus 1 a little bit. How careful he had to be with it. Yes, he had the ways to protect him, and he had jacks that would protect him, and ways you could keep him safe. But
that's relying on other pieces, not his innate ability to do something.
No, Severus, but definitely you didn't want Severus anywhere near the front, and Severus could stay further away from the fight. I think potentially as well, though. From the sound of it.
I mean, Bodan does have a 16-inch control area.
Oh, okay.
Like Arcane 8 control 16.
16.
Yeah, Kador with a 16-inch control area. That's previously like 16. Haley levels, quite neat.
Well, 16 used to be not uncommon, but now it's quite rare now.
Yes. Oh, I think they've really kind of they've pushed for the main control area now to be 12.
12 like, everywhere.
With like a couple of standout Arcane 14s. 16 is silly. I don't.
About 18.
I don't think we'll see a. What was the name? The floating Menoth one.
20.
Yeah.
Harbinger
with their 20-inch control range.
Yeah. I don't think we'll see that as a new option anytime soon.
No, I don't think we will either.
Well, actually, just open up. Not the War Machine app.
I'll wait for that to load. I do quite like how the untying of Arcane Control and Arcane Attack has been playing out.
Yeah, that was a superb choice. You'd think it would add more complexity to the game, but what it's done instead is free them up to do different things with casters.
I'm feeling that it's been a while since they did it, so my assumption has started to now stop. So I used to be that they're Arcane 6, therefore 12. Well, you make those assumptions based on previously, but now I'm each caster that only has a 12-inch control range.
Sorry, Kurt, you really broke up for me there. Do you want to repeat that?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I thought it was
I just saying that the assumption has gone from those stats being based on the same thing as well, in the sense of not just thinking it's Arcane 6, therefore it's 12. I've got a caster I'm using that's Arcane 8, but it doesn't have a 16-inch control area, it's only 12. Yeah. And I'm now getting used to not making that assumption.
Of interest to this conversation, which I've just had to look up, I had forgotten Harbinger's ridiculous shoulder pad cloak things. She's now Arcane Attack 10, Arcane 10, only Control 16.
Okay. Oh.
So
Just the upper limit. Seems the
That's they've really pulled back on that, which is probably a good idea, to be honest. And that feat just yeah.
Just read Haley 2. Remind yourself that there was worse.
Oh, Haley 2 has been ripped to shreds in the current version.
I know. The old Haley 2 feat.
It's just the fact that it's not just I'm going to choose what order you activate it. No. You're going to get half an activation as well. It's like, hang on, why do you get 2 feats? This feels wrong.
Nick, I think if I really wanted it to hurt more, I'd want Andrew Galea to read out her feet. I don't know how I managed to play into. I feel like I played into Andrew Galea and Haley 2 so much. I think mainly hardcore events, but
that's going back a long time ago. There,
that's the flashback I get when we start talking about Haley 2.
Yeah, that's fair. She was kind of an ever present at that point in Mark II.
Memories of meeting with Haley 2 in a multi-person game and having to brain melt solving 4 different players' activations.
Yep, that Legion of Snake Eyes campaign weekend in Bath, was it?
Westbury?
Yes.
Westbury?
Yes.
Yeah. I wanted to go, I couldn't make it, but yeah.
Sadly, the blog where the video for that was taken down. But there was a video that occasionally I'd just look at and say, oh look, that's what War Machine looked like 10 years ago. And it is now significantly more than that, but we'll move on from that part.
Yes, quickly.
Going back to Old Umbre, they've actually had a couple of nice pieces of fiction recently that I've been reading up on in the library part of the app, which I've forgotten the name of.
Why did you say it like that?
It's fancy, it's a library.
Okay.
Yep.
The Old Ways.
Yeah, The Old Ways Part 1 and 2. Which is
kind of like Stewie, I'm just going to say.
Giving a nice insight into Umbre, and also where Sorcer's been at. And it's like, yeah, she's older and drunk, on the frontier. She's been exiled. Enjoy. Like, oh, okay. But
like the rest of us.
It's just interesting to see. It's like, yes, you're hero of the Empire. Now, please go away. But yes, I'm just happy Sorcer's back because first Warcaster and all that. But if she comes back as a junior for Old Umbre, wouldn't complain.
Do you mean your first?
Not at all.
Obviously, the first Warcaster was Butcher.
Well, no, yes, my first Warcaster.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
Still Kador.
Yes. I didn't play Kador for 2 entire editions of this game. I only came back.
The only time I played Kador was when somebody made me play your Kador or something like that.
No, it wasn't my Kador. Because I know what event you're referring to, and I took Mercs to that event.
I can't remember it, yeah. Oh, yeah, you did, yeah.
Yes. That was the one where I had a Nomad that single-handed threw one of Conrad's Signar Heavies into a volcano.
I think actually it wasn't Kid I was playing, it was Crix, I think I had Montenegro with Trolls, which was really, really bad. I think it was good. Too good. Moving on.
Well, yes, you've moved slightly more Crixwards, which is interesting, because we do now have the cards for, Crix-related.
Adjacent.
Yes.
Adjacent. Yeah, Crix adjacent.
For a Cephalix mercenary solo. And their pet super heavy monstrosity. So Exulon Nostilla, that's good. That. And Aberration. The rules for those have been released. Good lord, that's 20 points of. Well, I shall remove Big Pig and put Exulon Nostilla in. That's just.
And everyone will have it because it's a freebie for having the app sub. Yes,
if you have the annual sub for the app, at some point you get a voucher to get Nostilla and Aberration for quote-unquote free. It's certainly something. So Nostilla themselves is what? Arcane 5 caster with access to Dark Seduction, Revive, and Vision.
As we were just saying, Arc 5, but Control 12.
Yes, of course. And has Awe, so, if you're a living enemy model within 5 inches, it's -2 to attack rolls. So that Def 16 suddenly becomes Def 80. And Sucker, of course, as well, so they can palm stuff on from other people. And a star action to give a bonus focus to their pet monstrosity. And then you get to the monstrosity itself, and you go, oh, okay, so surely this monstrosity, well, they've often had
how many attacks?
2 ranged attacks and 2... No.
And before we go on to the monstrosity, it's worth pointing out that Exelon has a Grey 12 brain damage PAL 14 gun.
Which is boostable. It's not even critical. It's not even critical, it's just brain damage.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten that part. Yeah.
What, so brain damage just straight hits the cortex, or...?
No, brain damage. Model damage by an attack with this weapon cannot cast spells for 1 round.
Oh, it's silence. Okay.
Yes. It's a Spray 12, POW 14, Rat 6, boostable pistol spray.
With silence. That's pretty good.
Yeah. It's pretty tasty. And then you get to Aberration. Okay, so the cast is pretty good. I'd probably tone this one down a little bit. So you get to choose whether it has Adrenal Surge, Dopamine Boost, or Endorphin Dump. So either better attack rolls, overtaking Swift Hunter, or +2 to damage rolls, and remote charge. Yes, every turn for free, just as a thing. Oh,
so that's going to be like POW 10s or 12s then, right?
We'll get onto that part. It's hyper aggressive as well.
Calm down, Mike. Calm down.
Oh no, it gets better. It's got impervious flesh as well. Yeah, just like whenever it takes a damage roll 1 fewer die. Sure,
So it's got low armor like the little frog in Trolls.
Yeah, no, I'm 17. It's I suppose.
Oh, it's too lower than the other ones. Okay.
On that front, I'm 17. It's looking a little bit weak, but then you add impervious flesh on, and the 36 boxes of health.
That ain't going down quickly.
That's it's a bit better than Magnus's +2 arm spell for Invictus, really. Yeah.
Yep.
It's got a straight Grievous Wounds range weapon with pistol, so naturally you'll start your turn by firing that at whatever you're in melee with. Which POW 14, not bad. It's also got a decent blaster, which actually I suppose you could do that one first because it causes Shadowbind on every hit. Shadowbind, then Grievous Wounds, and then we move on to the melee attacks. So we have the Hydraulic Shears, which are POW 17 range 2 with crit decap. Okay, fair
POW
enough.
17 and you can just straight +2 it to POW 19.
Yes.
Oh, you wait.
Or if something was high death, you could add +2 to its melee and make it nat 8. Just as a thing. But then we also have the Tenderizer, which is range 2 POW 19 with beatback. Just casually adding a little bit there. And then we have, just to add to the fun, 2 Grappling Claws, which are only POW 14, but if a warrior model's hit with them, it's got -2 death and can't advance. So you've got Shadowbind and Mancatcher on the same model, which is you can stack for -5 death on a warrior model.
Jeez.
If that gets anywhere near a Warcaster at any point, it's just going to be the worst.
And you said it's a super heavy.
Oh, yes.
What size base is that? Is that a colossal
80.
base or is that
80 mil.
80.
Okay.
It's that new in-between size. It's the same size as Big Pig and Invictus. Or if you've seen it, the Kador tank and the Signar chariot.
Wyvern on the hand.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. Wyvern is the one that I see most often and want to boot out off the table.
Don't know what you mean.
Yeah. So yeah, Aberration, very tasty. We're going to see this everywhere, aren't we?
We are. I can't think of the rhyme though. Pigs on Parade has such a ring to it, doesn't it? With last year's WTC. I can't think if there's this many of them. Whether everybody can get one by October, I'm not sure, but probably. And how many there'll be at the WTC will have a similar effect as the pig was the previous year. We'll see. Might be too soon, might it?
How about the Nostilla Flotilla?
That's quite good, actually. That's quick. Like it.
We go with that. We'll have that as a working title for now. And we can,
yes, absolutely.
We can workshop some more ideas later.
I'll reach out to Mario and see if he's got some input. Yeah.
But yes, so as for news, that's what we've kind of got at the moment. I'm just gonna like stew on Nostalgia and Aberration for a while and just kind of cry a little, and then buy my own.
Indeed, as everybody else.
Yeah, that's true. So, that out of the way, one of the things that I suggested for discussion this episode was Steamroller 2025 and our thoughts on it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Because we've been through several iterations of Steamroller at this point.
I found, I was going through a box. I found a Steamroller.
We're going to go with this story, okay?
But no, I literally just found it. 2015, I think I've got Steamroller as a printed official Steamroller, A5 size little booklet. So I found in a box with 8 scenarios in it. So I thought it was quite funny as we're going to talk about this, I found it literally at the weekend.
I will tell you
the hand as well.
I will tell you what I found the other day, which is in much the similar vein. Going through my bookshelf, I saw this very strange, those document pouches you can get with they can go in a ring binder and they've got a clear front.
Yeah.
Saw one of those and thought, that's odd. What's this? Had this sort of weird Celtic pattern on the front, several typos. It's from the Welsh Open. Before it was the Welsh Masters. It is, in fact, the packet from the first Welsh Open that I went to.
Wow.
Complete with army lists, which is also misspelled. But fractions. It's got all fractions. I'd forgotten that one. Bless you, Martin. You're wonderful. But yes, going through that Steamroller packet was like, we played this. Oh no.
You just to the brief aside, you do know Martin's back, don't you?
Oh yeah.
I played Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We discussed it last episode.
I thought we did. Yeah. I remember. Mine's passed. I've slept.
Okay, that's fair enough. It has been a while, really, hasn't it?
Once at least.
But we've been through.
You can play him again soon. He's coming to the next as well.
Oh, I thought he was. Awesome.
He's getting that practice.
He might be better now. I might not get a cheeky. He was robbed. I got a cheeky win out of him, and I'm going to take that. I'm not going to do it again, am I?
You always take wins against Jenkins, always.
Yeah, I'm right.
So, but anyway, so we've seen a lot of changes. We've seen going up to beyond 12 scenarios at some points. We've seen different forms of deployments. We have seen the standard deployment change its dimensions at least 4 or 5 times. From back when AD was 12 inches and it was...
Oh, God.
What was it, 8 and 12 with the initial deployment zones? Like, all this kind of stuff to where it is now. And we've had now 6 months of this pack. And I'm starting to firm upon my feelings on it. So I just thought we'd take a quick look. What do you say we go through each of the scenarios that's in the pack first?
That sounds a fantastic idea.
Okay, so for those unaware of where Steamroller even is these days, because it's not the most advertised thing, it's in the library section on Steamroller 2025 in the War Machine app, or you can go to sr25.onrender.com and get a very abridged version that has better measurements. That's great for setting at the time, because you choose what player you are and then you get to see all the measurements that you need rather than 2 of them. Okay, so first scenario is Color Guard. So this is one where you've got 2 caches, you have 2 flags, and 2 50mm objectives in the centre. The main gimmick of this one...
Gimmick?
Well, each scenario has its own thing, really, doesn't it? Let's put it that way. So, much like you have a gimmick match in wrestling, you have your tables match, your ladder match, you have, steel cages, whatever. The gimmick for this one, if you'll allow me to use that part of, technical verbiage, is that I'm going to read this one out because it was clear as mud the first time that I read it, but now it makes much more sense. So at the end of each scoring round, after points have been scored, starting with the first player, each player places their opponent's flag on a terrain within 5 inches of the last scenario terrain piece not already used as a scenario terrain by either player. If no terrain piece is valid for placement of the flag, do not move the flag. The flag remains in that location until the end of the game.
So your flags move around
Yes.
on this terrain.
Yes, and you choose where your opponent's flag goes.
Generally towards you is my experience. Yep.
Yes, I have multiple times seen both flags end up in one person's deployment zone.
Or up the flank is also quite a good one. If you've got a good strong flank and they have got less on that flank, move it that way. I've done that as well.
That's true.
You try and move it to your advantage, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I think this one highlights what I think is one of my main peeves with this year's Steamroller pack. And I think it was a problem in the last one, but I think it's been exacerbated this year, is flag placement. Unless you have a TO who is very canny at organising terrain, or you do a lot of measurement beforehand in the current scenario pack, it is very easy to create an extremely unbalanced game with this. Because one person gets decided, it's like, oh, my flag can never move, but yours can, and it's coming to me.
I have a really good counter to that.
Win the dice off?
How many bits of terrain have you got on your table? And how many bits do you think should be on it based on the Steamroller pack?
Don't get me wrong. That is a valid.
I think that's the problem.
A valid thing.
Yes, but I mean, I'm a fan of putting all the neoprene bits on the table, which is a decent number. It's still very easy with the flag placement rules that at deployment there's only one option for where the flag's going to go, and it's also very easy to not have another piece within range. It can be just out when you don't realise. I think I'm with Mike on this one. It can be too swingy for reasons outside of the player's control at an event where the table is set up by a third party.
I think if there's insufficient terrain, so obviously Tommy and I play on similar tables and layout tables, and we know now from our experience we tend to lay out tables in a similar way, and play together obviously fairly frequently. But I think that for the pictures I've seen of tables, the difficulty comes when there is just not enough terrain, or the terrain is spread not too broadly across the table, but it is important that there are that 12 to 14 pieces of terrain. Not only that they are generally focused slightly more towards the middle horizontal of the table, and by that I mean you don't have any of those pieces of terrain in deployment zones as such, or within kind of 10 inches of the edge, of the back edge of either side. That generally means you end up with terrain that this can jump between. Because I've not, yes, I have experienced what you're both talking about, but I think most times that's happened is because you've got an oversized piece of terrain, which lends itself to more space around it, because with human beings, you tend to do that. If you have a big building or a big forest or something, you tend to create more space. So if the thing ends up in there, then leaving again. I think more of it's to do with that, because I find if you have got 14-ish pieces of terrain on the table, or 12 to 14, and they are more centrally focused, they jump around quite freely for quite a while.
I think the problem with that, though, is that when you tell people 12 to 14 pieces of terrain, and what I'm increasingly seeing in tournaments is a lot more people are using things like scatter terrain, which the flag can't move to because they can be destroyed.
You say that, I was just double checking. If objective terrain piece is destroyed, expires, or is removed from the table, before removing the terrain piece, the player who caused its removal places its flag anywhere touching its edge.
Hang on.
After placing the flag, remove the terrain from the table. The flag then becomes an obstruction scenario piece.
How would the terrain expire? I thought the expiration had been removed for Steamroller.
Scatter terrain. If it is
but that would be removed, not expire.
It could just be inclusive wording.
True. Yes, they might be working it so it's compatible with any future stuff, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think the flags could go to scatters. Things like graves and...
Yeah, I can't see, just looking at the flag rules, I can't see anything that says not scatter.
Silence is golden.
Oh, yeah, no. So flags are used in some scenarios to denote scenario terrain. If scenario contains a flag for deployment... something for the players take turns choosing one piece of terrain within 5 inches of their own 30mm flag. Yes, a lot of people still at this point weirdly still using 20mm caches and flags. Stop doing it.
Do tack it onto a 30mm base. It's not hard.
Yeah, place the flag on, in, or next to that piece of terrain to represent there's no scenario. It does seem like they've become more permissive. I'd missed that change in this Steamroller, because I know they last year.
However, it states if the terrain is removed, i.e. scaffer, the flag then becomes obstruction scenario terrain piece.
Yep.
How would that interact with colour guard? Would it then move from itself, or is it just locked where it is?
Locked where it is, I think.
Yeah, it ceases to become scenario terrain.
It becomes an objective kind of type thing.
Yeah, because it says each player places their opponent's flag on a terrain piece within 5 inches of the last scenario terrain piece not already used. And because that terrain piece is no longer there, you can't measure anything within 5 inches of it.
If you put the flag on the edge of it, I don't disagree. And I think that is so. I think what this does highlight is something you have mentioned off air in our chat, Mike, about the general complexity of this, and you mentioned previously about having to check rules, experienced players getting things like this wrong, and this is a really good example. And that I don't disagree with. I think that is a valid point. There is a level of complexity to this. I enjoy the pack as a whole, but I do agree, or do think that there is a level of complexity that is almost needlessly confusing, one could say.
Having not played Steamroller, this version of it, having played previous Steamroller, I have no idea what you're saying happens. I sort of gather there's a flag and it moves between terrain pieces.
Right.
But
so,
that's kind of it.
this really is important then, because obviously you've not experienced this version of Steamroller. So flags have changed as a whole. They are now no longer that whole 40mm thing that sits there and they're just a base in the middle of nowhere. Now, you have your flag measured at the start, and you pick something within 5 inches to be scenario terrain and move the flag to it. And that building, trench, whatever,
forest
even,
cloud.
Yeah.
It's effectively where your flag bearer is, where you're flying the flag.
Yeah. And if you've got, two models, if it's volume terrain, it's within.
Yep.
And if it's something that's an obstruction touching, then you control.
Within 2. Within three.
Yes.
Everything changes within 3, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah. If it's a volume, they've got to be within it. But if it's a physical thing, they've got to be within a distance. So that's how flags have changed. They're radically different, and they can.
That doesn't sound too complicated.
Yeah,
that sounds kind of actually.
No, yeah, I like flags.
Thematically, yes, I think it's a very interesting piece. I think practically, there's a couple of things that they could do to improve it, and I think one of them would be to not just specify where the flag is, but to actually provide a sort of a guide on where that scenario piece should move to. So basically, you have an idea of the flag's going to be here. Oh, this is within 5 inches. I can then warp that piece to this area of the game where the scenario expects it to be. I think that's one of the things they could do, so that you can guarantee if things are moving, something will be in range or whatever. The other thing would be so that keep the physicality of the flag, but make it so that anything it's touching becomes scenario terrain, but it's still moving independently on its own.
Oh, see, so it moves rather than it being jumping from thing to thing. That's what we're saying, isn't it? So it still kind of has the same effect, but you're not jumping it terrain to terrain. You're moving the flag a certain distance, and then the nearest bit of terrain becomes the objective.
It's something along those lines. I mean, obviously, that massive playtesting would have to take part on either way of doing that.
I was just clarifying what you were saying, but
I think there's more they could do with that, and I think I'd like to have seen more playtesting of what they were doing with certainly this scenario. I mean, what I would say is as well, even though I'm going to be fairly negative in some sections about this pack, I do still enjoy it. I just don't enjoy it as much as I think I did last year's.
Well, I think fundamentally I prefer it to last year's, but just because I think I quite like the variety, I like the things they changed, I like the things they brought in. But I'm happy to move on through. Let's move on through. We'll come back to the summary towards the end.
Well, let's go to scenario number 2, trench warfare. So this one says looking at the board. Now this one, you have a 40, a 50, a cash, and a flag each.
Everything.
Yes, you have the whole lot. The gimmick for this one is that your own flag scores you nothing, but your opponent's flag scores you 2. And also, your 40mm and your 50mm, while within 3 inches of those, medium and small base warrior models gain cover and resistance blast.
Which is really hard to remember.
Yep, no one ever remembers it. I've yet to see more than a handful of people go, "Oh, I've got cover off this one," or "Oh, I've got resistance blast," which
it's like a trench. Yeah, where's trench warfare?
Oh yeah,
like
it is literally two circular foxhole trenches.
Sounds like Gravediggers should be good at this.
I mean, yeah, they would be. And given the dimensions out from the 40 and the 50, it's covering a fair old section of the board. And in fact, you've got cover until relatively close to the opposing flag, which is interesting conceptually. The two caches in the middle, obviously you've got those sort of single score, 2 CP tokens, as it were. I think this is interesting in that it definitely forces a very wide deployment, because
it kind of swings as well quite often. It swings into the diagonal quite frequently, I found.
Yes. Because if you've not looked at it fully, the two flags are 6 inches in from the left and right table edges, and they are. Oh yes, this is the one where you measure 30 inches from the opponent's side for your flag.
Yeah.
Because you can't measure from your own, because, and this is the daftest thing, the bases are in mils, but the game measures in inches. So you couldn't have the flag in the right place if you were measuring in complete inches from your own deployment zone. Figure that one out.
I'm not sure why, but I'll believe you for the moment.
Well, 30 mil isn't a complete inch.
I understand that.
So if you measure to the edge, the front edge would be in a different place to 30 inches from your opponent's side. Yeah.
It would be 5 mil difference. What do you do? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you would have thought the error margin for placement wouldn't really matter.
Oh, yeah. No,
your own side.
Absolutely not. But it makes more sense to print complete inches on the board. Yeah.
No, but that's what I mean. You could print the 17 inches up, and the placement wouldn't be exactly the same. It'd be close enough. And considering it's a flag, it's going to be moved onto a terrain piece anyway. It just seems, an irritation.
Yes, it is it's one of those ones that's always annoying to measure. Pass. Don't know.
Something's in the way. Can't reach it.
Yeah. I would say this is one of my favourite scenarios. I think
I like this one. We can all agree on this one. I like this one as well.
I think it forces that nice wide deployment. It forces you to pick the fights very carefully, because you can't have stuff that's just going to come in and rescue something that's failing. It's too far across the board to just go, oh no, I need to run a solo over here. Not that solos are important in Steamroller 2025, but that's a side point.
Contesting pieces, they're good for contesting.
They're good for contesting, yes.
I like that. I like that about this, in the fact that you can't score your own flag, but that doesn't mean you can ignore it.
Yes, no, that's very true. Very true. It does feel like a lot of the time they do have scoring of the home flag just to keep the game ticking over, which I'm not sure is a good thing. Here's a question, actually. Would it be an interesting change for Steamroller 2026 to have all home flags score 0 and all enemy flags score 2?
That could be quite fun.
Yeah.
It would be cleaner. It would be less of a discrepancy to remember.
I think it would certainly force that more adventuring play style, while having to... It gives you a second thing to look at near the board edge, other than, is my caster outside the kill box?
Yeah. And as far as rules complexity, it actually brings it in line with the cache.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
I think that could be a very interesting change. I mean, obviously depends on what scenarios they came up with and what other changes they did as well. But I think that's certainly something that you could consider. I mean, as we said, how do we feel about that? Sort of having the 40 or 50 mil as well, having the cover and blast resistance.
If you remember it, I like it.
Yeah.
It has just given me ideas of printing a 40 and 50 mil appropriate trench marker, just to help remind people.
Write it down your arms.
I think that is giving me shades of, I can't remember what list it was, but it was tail end of Mark 3, I think, where one of Ashlyn's theme lists, she got a cloud, but it had special rules. So I have a SmogCon template with the rules of that cloud just written on it, because I forgot so many times. I was like, I'm going to put it on the board, and I'm going to see the rules, and that's going to be all that I need to know.
That sounds like writing rules, like things on permanent marker on caster's cards. That sounds familiar.
Well, writing feet on your hand.
That too, yeah.
But it's not a
Rubik
foot.
is Pathfinder down your arms.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think this is another one of those cases where we've got an interesting point for discussion on different scenario pieces doing different things in different scenarios. Now, I think we respect that
which have tried to align from 24 to 25. I think there's been some effort to try and align it, but in doing some of it, we've got some discrepancies still.
Yes.
As in the distances to hold objectives and stuff was all brought into alignment, which is nice.
Yes.
So there's definitely been some effort and desire to do that, but then we've got this one we've got basically, you're right, flags and caches don't quite work the same as each other, that would be better.
I think there was also some effort on the part of caches to make those less weird, because originally they weren't contestable, only had to be base to base and sacrifice an action.
I had an opponent try and do that on Thursday. Walk straight up while I was contesting, going, "Well, I'll have that," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, but I'm contesting." He's like, "You do what?"
Yep. So I think, yes, you're right. There has been an effort of standardisation. I think there possibly needs to be more, and if that means introducing one more or two more scenario pieces that have like a special rule on, which we will get to in 2 scenarios from now, then I think that might be a good thing. But I mean, should we just leave trench warfare as generally happy with it?
Right.
Could use some refinement. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, agree with that.
So scenario number 3. Oh, wolves at our heels.
Let me turn the page. Right.
Turn the page. Are you not using your digital version?
No, I'm looking at a physical bit of paper that I grabbed out of my box. There's the one that I take to events because then I can look at it easily and quickly, rather than have it on the screen. Where I have got like the app open and web page open and all kinds of stuff. But I know I've got a physical. Right since I found this old version that I'm treating my treasure. Now I have a physical. Even more silly, it's black and white, which means that I have another copy of the actual scenarios printed out because it's in colour, so I can see which is which objective. If you print this in black and white, it's a real nightmare.
I will say, at points to SFG, or I don't know if it's PP that first started doing this, for the black and white versions, they have ditched that whole thing of having different shapes for different scenario pieces. Now they're just right on them what they are, which is an amazing change. Like
black and white, though, you just can't tell whose is whose, though, especially on things like, well, not more trench warfare. Trench warfare is the one that's hard when you're not sure whose is whose.
Yeah. And I think could be more work there, but just having the fact that, F is for flag. 50 means a 50 mil. 40 means a 40.
Definitely.
Ease of reading. You love to see it. So, wolves at their heels. So this one, you have...
You love this one, I can tell already. It's your fave, I can tell.
This is one of the ones that I don't play very often, so it always kind of gets me. You have 2 50s in the centre. You have a home 40, which is just outside the deployment zone, and a home flag that's just a bit back from centre line on the right. The gimmick for this one is it's got the expanding kill box. So starting on the first player's third turn, the kill box extends by 2 inches at the beginning of each of their turns.
Which is like really old school kill box. I remember having before.
It's one of the variants. So there was in Mark II, there was a very specific variant that had the expanding kill box. Now I do like having an expanding kill box because it forces the warcasters forwards. I generally think War Machine is a very boring game where the warcaster stands exactly 1 mil inside the kill box behind a wall. It's like, come on, come a bit forwards. Come on, that's it. We're playing a war game here.
No, I'm good. I'm happy here. It's fine.
Yep. But yes, it's got the expanding kill box, and at the end of each scoring turn, after points have been scored, players may move each 40 mil objective they control up to 3 inches towards their opponent's table edge. And why this is important is, after moving objectives, a player whose 40 mil objective has completely crossed the 24-inch centre line of the map earns 3 VP. If both objectives cross the line on the same turn, no points are earned, and scoring for this goal is checked only once per game. So a 3VP swing is either enough to get you back into a badly losing game, or enough to put you in a very winning position.
So I'd like to ask you a question. Do you think this is better or worse than its previous incarnation, where the 40 mils had to get closer to closer to the scenario zone, wasn't it? Closer to the flag zone or scenario or terrain.
No, you're thinking payload.
That's the next one.
Oh, it's payload. Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Yeah, right. I am.
Yeah.
Is this one entirely new, or is it I'm just crossing over a payload?
You're just crossing over this one. They were around last year.
Yeah. I can't remember what the changes were from last year, so let me just...
I believe the only real difference was last year. It was the first 40 mil to... no, it was at the second player's fourth turn. The 40 mil that's furthest up the board got the 3 VP.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
At the end of player 2's fourth turn, player with the furthest 40 mil objective scores 3 VP once.
I think this is cleaner to have the halfway line to cross.
Yes, I would agree with that.
So that's what I was thinking. This is definitely cleaner than its previous incarnation, but it's tricky. It's definitely a tricky one to play.
Yes, I think this is also one that can be hampered by terrain. It's less likely than in other scenarios, but stupid placement of buildings has occurred where it becomes something of a challenge to move 40 mils. So you do need to be aware of those.
It is worth being aware of the rules for objectives moving, because they do ignore terrain when you're moving the objective.
But you can't really put a 40 mil in the middle of a building, though. Or
no.
It's difficult to do anything with that, really.
No, I have seen people skirt it around things where it doesn't have to be. They treat it like a move.
Yeah.
Also, the hardest part, though, from what you just said, Mike, is trying to predict where your payload, I'm doing it again, where the 40 moves, or where it's going to start, where it's going to move to, while you're choosing whether you want table sides or not, or which side you want.
Yep.
And that's the point where you make a decision that gives you the advantage going second and choosing the table edge, and therefore choosing the terrain that favours you. But it's quite hard to do that, isn't it?
I will admit, I thought you were going to have something else entirely there.
Okay.
Which was, it's quite hard to predict when a 40 mil moves, where you've got to have models so that they are still
it's not hard.
Still controlling after the move.
That was hard when we first saw it. That's not hard now.
I think as a person with like a lot of 3 model units,
it's easier with 3 model units.
It can get rough. 3 model units that move 4 inches.
I can appreciate this. I can see both sides.
Yeah.
I don't think
makes it a lot easier, but I can feel the pain.
Yeah.
For me,
3 model units that move 4 inches, I don't believe they exist. I don't have any of those.
Yep, there we go. Faction favoritism all over again.
The bit I don't like about this scenario is the fact that the 40 mils are so far out on the flank. I would prefer to see the flag being 8 inches from the edge and the 40 mil being 12 inches from the edge, just to bring them in a little bit more. Otherwise, you sacrifice a unit to escort it up the board on one flank, and that's all they're doing.
Just to offer a counterpoint to that one, I can't believe I'm defending this scenario. Does that not then encourage something that's, I think this scenario is meant to pull away from, of a more of a kind of centre of the board mosh pit? Because it does pull away 1, maybe even 2 units to just keep that 40 mil rolling up the side,
and then counter things to contest and counter that as well.
Yeah,
and it also puts Jackson Beast in the middle, which then creates this like no-go zone, so you can't have units swapping flanks easily. I think there's some care and attention actually put into the makeup of this scenario and what they're trying to achieve with it. Whether it's successful or not is another matter entirely.
I do agree this is a difficult scenario.
Yes,
it is. I enjoy it, but it is difficult to win at. I mean, my priority is always scenario.
Yeah.
I don't like. I play into players who are trying to do something else, but I'm always looking at the scenario first and foremost because that's the primary way to win this game.
Yeah.
And I think if that is your focus, and it should be the focus for play Steamroller. Yeah, I think it is a difficult one to score well and win. There is a tension to pull backwards towards the middle, units out to the side. There's contrary pulling in different directions. I like it. I don't dislike it. It's hard though.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this one is hard to have a high-scoring scenario on. I will say this is a scenario where I've seen something that I think Steamroller itself needs to try and avoid.
Okay.
Which is, I've now seen multiple times, having had the discussion beforehand, of, okay, are we playing this with like the maths knowledge of, the minimum number of turns it must be from here, and to clear those lanes of the board so that the 40 mil can move there.
What? Like messing with the scenario to help the 40 mil?
Messing with the board and also saying,
right,
look, we know it has to be 3 turns, right, across the centre line. We both happy with that. We're both good in that knowledge. So you shouldn't have to have that kind of mathematical precision to say.
Does it have to be 3 turns, or does it have to be 4?
I can't remember what the exact number is, but I know that I've seen that discussion take place.
Yeah, because I think it has to be 4 because it says completely over the centre line, and at the end of 3 turns, if you've moved it in the most direct straight line possible, it is the rear edge of that base is it's touching the 24-inch line. So it has to be 4 turns for scoring. So that's what, turn 6.
If you can move it directly, in theory it's 3. But with human movement, you're right there, Dom. It literally that's 9 inches. 3 times 3 movements, 3 turns of movement. It's 15 plus 9 is 24. It should be touching it. I think human beings that's cross it, but. I do take your point.
Yeah.
I disagree with you.
Yeah, it's 3 turns. Oh, wait, this then actually just move into how do you define crossing? Because
it says completely clear. It says completely crossed.
It's across the 24 line. Yeah, every part of it is 24 inches or more from the table edge.
Yeah.
Is that crossed?
Is
that level?
I would say more than 24 inches because 24 inches, as used in other rules, is within.
Yeah.
So, interestingly, they've used a term that is not a game term.
Crossed.
So what they should have done is said...
within the 24 inches of the opponent's edge.
As 40-mil objective is not within 24 inches of their home board edge.
Yeah. Same thing, but that's cleaner. Yeah.
I think this is where this one falls down. This is where I prefer last year's wording, just to go, at this defined point in the game, which one's further?
Yeah.
Easy to check, easy to measure, very clear.
I actually...
Yes, because if you've both moved... Well, if you've both moved it for the same number of turns, in theory it's in the same sort of position, but if one of you's moved it further, then it's clearly obvious that it's moved further. There's some jank there both ways around, isn't there?
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I've just realised there's another change from last year, which I completely blanked on. There's no flags in 2024.
Oh.
It was caches. So that's interesting. The measurements for pretty much everything else are the same, and the flags are where the caches were. What a weird change.
I think that's an improvement.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think you're right. I don't disagree.
The position of one of the flags has changed because the old cache was in a weird place.
They have aligned. More of the scenarios are more symmetrical than 2024.
Yes, you're right. That does mean that the actual scenario pack, just reading it, is easier because the omission of some of the measurements in previous editions has been frustrating.
There were some interesting calculations needed to try and work out where things should be, yes.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I play with 40k terrain layouts. I have seen bullshit measurements of the highest order in the worst readable fonts you've ever seen. By comparison, Steamroller is a pleasure. But even then, missing out some of those numbers was infuriating. I think they've partially solved that now. There's a reason I still use the sr25.onrender.com, because that has measurements on both sides, so even if there is a change, you can see it. But and it has a much more condensed version of the scenario scoring as like a 3-bullet point, this.
Yeah, I like that site.
But yes, So, I mean, what's the general feeling on Wolves at our heels? Wolves at their heels? Wolves at our heels.
Positive. For me, it's just behind trench warfare.
Interesting.
I like it. It's hard, but I like it.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's trying to solve a problem in that it's trying not to have that central mosh pit. I think there needs to be a little more thought in what they're doing with the 40s, but not much more. I think you could... That's a solvable problem. I think probably going back to the 2024 scoring method of whoever moves furthest is probably one of those solutions. Also, I might say I'd like to see the extending kill box in another scenario. So, like a third of the map, rather than just one.
Yeah, so there isn't just one. Yeah, I agree with that.
Do they still have scenario pieces that your caster has to score, or has that fallen away?
Your caster can score everything.
Yeah.
No, you don't have anything that only your caster can score.
Okay, because that was the alternative to Killbox that was quite nice, that moved forced your casters to move up.
Oh, right? the way that scenario pieces work now, you have the 40 mil, which is largely units, the 50 mil, which is largely jacks and battle engines.
Battle engines.
Yes, battle engines. Yeah.
You have caches, which is any individual model
giving up their action. Yeah.
Giving up their action. Yep. As long as no one contests, and then they're removed from the board. Then flags, which is 2 models to score, 1 to contest. And there are some more fine details in there. Like if you're scoring with a unit, they must all be in range, and they must all be in range. They must all be in range of the scenario piece, as it were.
Yeah, within 3. Yeah.
I can't remember if there's any more specific on the 50s. There used to be a 30 mil solo
cohort model. Yeah.
A 30 mil solo one, but that got removed. Yes. Which I'm not entirely sure why, but we'll go.
I can understand. I can understand why they removed it, because you would then have 3 30 mil objectives, and they each have their own.
That's actually a good
rule.
Point. Yeah,
but
I think it was obvious when the pack came out, but we kind of forgot that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I do think they should have given a purpose to solos somewhere.
Contesting.
Yeah, it was just Mike had mentioned a few times about the killbox and wanting to bring casters forward, so I wondered if that still existed as an alternative to a killbox. Because obviously, if you start whacking, growing killbox and everything, it starts to get a bit samey.
Yeah,
but if you have alternative ways of having to bring the casters up, and some where you don't need to bring the casters up, it can vary the game sufficiently.
True. I think Mike was advocating one more, because this is the only one that has the extending killbox.
Yeah. I mean, they have got rid of the whole thing of control and dominate. That's gone by the wayside many years ago now as well. What else has gone by the by?
Don't even. There's so much.
Yeah, there's a lot. But casters.
I feel like it's in a good place.
Yeah, I do still find late in the game a caster controlling something is still very viable, and also it's one of those things of well, if you can get a model here to contest, yeah, you contest, but the caster is just going to mulch you in my turn. So it's still an interesting one to play around with. Yes. Oh boy. Scenario number 4. Where do I start? Payload. So for this one, you have a 50, which is in your bottom right corner. You have a 40, which is not central, but getting there. And you have a non-scoring flag. Now, this one, the main gimmick is that every turn... Get this right, because it's... Oh, no, that's not the part of the bit for me. Okay. At the end
after scoring, so second turn onwards.
Yeah, at the end of each scoring turn, after points have been scored, a player securing a 50 mil objective may move that objective up to 3 inches towards the opponent's scenario terrain, plus 1 inch for each other 40 mil or 50 mil objective secured by that player. You get 1 point for each objective secured. If a player's 50 mil objective ends its movement within the area of the scenario terrain, or if being within the scenario terrain is impossible, within 3 inches of the piece of terrain itself, that player immediately earns 3 VP. Remove that 50 mil objective from play.
So, is your primary bone of contention the fact that the flag can sit on a obstruction makes it easy for your opponent, and if it sits in a zone, Serene, it's harder for your opponent.
I'm going to set up my initial stall on this one.
Okay, all right.
Right?
Okay.
And I'm just going to say, I think, and thought last year as well, this scenario is garbage. That's
okay.
Like, if I could cut one scenario,
Mike,
this would go in the bin.
Don't hide behind clever words and hyperbole. Say what you think.
So I think this has multiple problems. You have the problem of where that flag is being placed. Again, if you have a really canny TO and they've got their placements right for all the terrain and they've got the right amount of terrain, then yes, absolutely, you can have what is a fair game on this one. But I do think equally, about half the time on dice off, someone's going to go, well, it's going to take you 2 more turns to score your payload if I deploy on this side, so I'm going to have here. And that, for me, as a scenario piece, kills this stone dead. I think there's ways you could rework that flag, which would probably benefit it.
Yeah, I think I like this one on paper. I like the image it conjures because, as well as moving the objective, you get to move your scoring warjack 5 inches towards the objective,
yes,
which is pushing it to where it needs to go. I like that. I like the narrative that this scenario is selling.
Interesting.
But I think the downside, like you say, the blaring flaw is how swingy the flag rules are.
So you're saying that you're liking the image of that warjack pushing the objective. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I like that. I like that too.
Where does it say in Made to Haul that the model that moves must be a scoring model?
Oh,
that's a very good point.
Yeah, I can move.
So again, wait a minute. So Made to Haul, after moving their 50, at the end of the turn, the may move one friendly cohort model 5 inches directly towards it. What? I did not see that. So any of your cohort models could move 5 inches.
So I went in, I charged my warcast to start the turn. I TP'd back or whatever, and I'm still in a bit of danger. The objective's moved. I'll just, I'll move my cohort model, my leader, 5 inches towards the objective, and complete air danger.
Your leader is not a cohort model.
I thought they
were. No, he's not.
Okay.
And no attachments. No attachments.
Okay, you could do it with a beast or a warjack.
Yeah.
So it's the same sort of stuff. You can, I think that...
It's in the opponent's turn, though, isn't it? Can you do it in both after... Do you do it only in your own turn, or do you do it in both?
At the end of their turn. I think you only get to do that on your turn.
No, it's whenever you secure. At the end of each scoring turn, a player securing a 50-mil objective may move it.
After moving their 50-mil objective at the end of their turn.
Oh, at the end of their turn. Yes,
at the end of their turn.
Yeah, you're right. So it's at the end of your turn.
Okay, so you can't gain a positioning advantage using a go heavy from doing that, because it's not your turn next. If it was your turn next, if you're doing it in somebody else's turn, that is quite frightening.
So you're saying moving a cohort model 5 inches out of the threat range of something isn't a positioning advantage.
So I had not realised it wasn't the securing model. I've always played it as the securing model. So it's always been the warjack pushing the objective. I had not seen that.
So you've been playing rules intended, not rules as written.
Yeah, well, I tend to anyway. But yes, have you encountered people doing not that?
Not really, no. But I think that it's something you can do.
Did you notice this and you've observed this, or have you had this done to you, or not, or you just thought of it?
I think I've had it done to me once or twice.
Right.
Again, not a mainstream thing, but if you're going for the thematic thing of it, I think that's a glaring flaw. And I think that probably could be tidied up a little. Yeah. I think that you probably also need to... You've got the disadvantage between being within 3 of, my flag's on a wall versus, my flag's in the forest, which changes positioning as well. That's again a problem. But that's a scenario selection thing, and it, again, boils down to who wins the dice off.
And I hadn't noticed that, actually. Even though I played the scenario, and I hadn't noticed that, actually, if that flag sits on a piece of obstruction to terrain, getting within 3 inches is a lot easier than getting into the forest.
Yep. The other thing that I would
say... Depending on exactly where they are. Depending on positioning, and obviously,
The other thing I would say is the bonus movement. Yes, obviously, if you are scoring, then you are winning the game more, but also having an extra up to, 2-3 inches of movement? You'd have to be really going at some to get 3 inches of movement. But
if you're getting an extra 3 inches of movement,
you've won the game. Yeah, but like, I'm not sure that plus movement needs to be a thing, given that we've already got an objective elsewhere that moves. Now, this is why I said, when we're looking at trench warfare, we could probably do with another slightly differently termed scenario piece. What you could do is stick another 50 mil in the pack and call it, cart or whatever, and have that be something with standardized movement rules, so that you don't have to check, oh, hang on, is this the one where I get the bonus movement? Is it not? Like, you always have, what the movement rules for that thing is. And I think,
like wagon or something that is like a train car or something like that. Or actually, when you said this in chat, I was like, what are you talking about? But now we've gone through it and I can see the foibles of this now, and I haven't come across of it in the way you've described. But I can see the way to abuse it now, and I might have to try that.
Yeah. I think, overall, this scenario pack suffers from, not rules bloat, but, like, rules indeterminism. You can
we just interject at this point that Elite Cadre would like to apologise for ruining this scenario for everyone who's listened to this and anybody who plays them. Because we have done that.
But... as I say, I think the scenario pack suffers from rules of determinism. You can have a piece on the board, and it can say cash, it can say flag, it can say 40, it can say 50. Yeah. And in some cases, you go, I know what that does. Without knowing what scenario it is, you can say, I know what the thing does. And usually, that's the cash, because that seems to have the most consistent rules all the way around. Everything else, I can see a 50 on the board and go, oh, okay, I score that with Warjacks, and I can just park a Warjack next to it, and then at the end of the turn, it wanders off somewhere. Okay, how far does it move? Oh, some amount for this scenario. Cool. But my 40s, they stay still in this other scenario. No, they move in this one, but they don't in these 5. Okay, fine. Well, I've got a flag. That scores 1. No, it scores 2. Oh, so this other one scores 2 as well. No, that scores 0. Okay, I get that there's only 6 scenarios, and if you are regularly playing this pack, as I think the intention really is, to be honest, this is kind of the standard method of playing the game.
Yes.
Then, yes, you will get used to those rules. They will become embedded. But I think they just need to filter out a couple of rules. Maybe.
I think your point would be best made by it's 6 months in, and the concept of our conversation is evidence that we don't have it nailed.
Nope.
And 3 of us are playing this game fairly regularly.
Yes. Yeah. Which, every year there should be a shake-up of the game. Should be playing a little bit different.
Definitely.
Every version of the game has required a different form of Steamroller. I think we saw for the change from Mark II to Mark III, that needed a radical rework of what it was doing, because I don't know if anyone else remembers the change from Mark II to Mark III, where we were playing Mark II Steamroller with Mark III game pieces. That first scenario pack was miserable. It worked.
Are you talking about Mark III to Mark IV?
No, Mark II to Mark III.
Okay, just checking. Yeah. We also had it with Mark III to Mark IV as well, didn't we? But yes.
I wasn't there for the start of Mark IV.
Mark IV was playing the previous iteration, and it's very similar to what you were describing. So yeah it happened then as well.
It didn't really work with Mark II, but when the first Mark III scenario pack came out, a lot of players were already annoyed and had left and stopped playing. But what came out was a great scenario pack that worked. So yes, obviously we need continuous changes, and it's not just continuous improvements, it's continuous almost side grades in some places to be more appropriate for the game we're playing. And this isn't the most complex scenario pack we've had either. If anyone remembers flag deployments knows that we're not playing the same game anymore. Having to put an extra, 15 points in every list just in case you got flag deployments.
Oh my god.
Yes. If anyone else remembers as well, that was actually Steamforge's first War Machine product, was a measuring widget for flag deployment. Because
I've still got one somewhere.
Yeah, it was a deployment with a rounded edge. Which someone worked out there was a way you could build an army list of trolls so that you could actually deploy them. There were too many trolls to fit on the table. And the answer was literally start using your advanced deployment zone. That's it. Anyway, payload. I didn't like this in the last scenario pack. I don't like it in this one. I have seen people genuinely eye roll when this comes up as a scenario. and shoulders slump because it has problems, and I think they need to be designed away. Could you fix it? I think you can. Would it bother? Not sure.
I think it could be fixed just with fixing the flags. I still rather enjoy it, and I think I'd still rate it higher than Colour Guard.
That's not hard.
No. I think
it's very low bar.
I mean, the caveat that we've worked out with Made to Hall not having to be the scoring cohort model, I think 9 times out of 10 it is going to be the scoring cohort model that moves, because you're going to want to keep scoring.
Yes, that. You do want to keep scoring. Yeah. I'll absolutely agree with you.
If you reworded it to make it so it had to be the scoring cohort model, does that take a little edge off it?
That would help.
I think it probably does.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah. I think the only real flaw with this scenario is the flags and how random that can work out.
And unlike other examples, it can change the scoring potential. It can change how quickly you can get. Yeah, it can change not just location of objective, but type of scenario, type of terrain, and location of terrain can both affect the likelihood of you getting your 50 mil that much closer or not scoring before your opponent. So you can both move. You can move yours further than your opponent. Your opponent could win.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I do agree that it's not right. And I've enjoyed the scenario. And I agree with Dom. I've enjoyed the scenario. But actually, to be honest, I was all ready to argue with you left, right, and centre over all of this. But actually, you're right. This does seem to have some big flaws that I hadn't really come across.
Yeah.
So you've ruined it for me now. I hope you're sorry.
Again, I enjoy the scenario pack. I still play the game. I just think that there's some issues with this particular scenario pack that possibly need to be addressed. Should we move on to Two Fronts?
I think we should.
Oh, that's what this one is. Okay.
Yes, that was me turning the page again.
Yeah. Turn to page 17 in your copy books.
So, the noise.
In this scenario, you have... Now, this is an interesting one, because rather than actually mirroring... Well, it mirrors in a different fashion. So there is one central flag, which is actually slightly off-centre, annoyingly.
I enjoy you pedit yourself. You're pediting yourself. It's great.
What? Oh no, that's not the middle.
Need it. You're just going to rip yourself to bits. It's great.
I hate it. You have two 50s on one flank and two 40s on another. So you don't have 40s facing 50s. It's 40s facing 40s, and 50s facing 50s.
Yeah, I want to say the 50s are on the left and the 40s on the right, but which side of the table you're on?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's the way it is on the piece of paper, but yes, if you are player one, that is not the case. So the gimmick here is you're scoring basically one for everything, unless you get both 40s or both 50s. In the case,
I was going to say there is no gimmick, but you're right, there is. Yeah.
Yeah. In the case of scoring both 40s or both 50s, you score an additional 2 VP.
I'd say the biggest gimmick about this one isn't the difference in scoring, it's just the mechanical change it makes for how you play, where you've now got... It's Two Fronts. You have two separate battles going on independent of each other.
What grinds your gears about this one then, Mike? Because I think this is one of the most straightforward ones we've had so far.
It is very straightforward. What grinds my gears about this one? If I had to pick anything, and I do mean literally anything, Spit Dull.
Single flag?
That's it. It's okay. It's forcing a contest in the middle. It's saying your units will go over here, your warjacks will go over here, and it's fine. It's not doing anything exciting. It doesn't make me angry. It doesn't make me happy.
Oh, this one's too boring for you. That's what I'm hearing now.
It's very middle of the road. It's like it's
it's the Beach Boys of scenarios.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I think this is kind of an anti-skew scenario.
Ooh.
You can't go heavy one way or another.
Ooh, yeah, you know what? I like that. That's good. Yeah.
I was working on saying Neil Diamond, but I've ruined it now. Yeah.
No, you are actually, you're pretty correct. You've got to have units to contest. You've got to have jocks to contest on the other.
Yep.
And you've got to, you've at least got to contest your own to stop the scenario tipping very rapidly. I don't think there's much.
I think it depends on your army list, doesn't it? Though, as well, Because if you're in a position where you've got heavy infantry, you can split your forces to an extent, and you can. If you've got heavy enough infantry, you can stick your infantry on the 40s and bully the other infantry, especially if your opponent doesn't have resilient heavy infantry.
Kurt, how many armies do you know of at the moment that aren't heavy infantry?
I meant literally having resilient, heavily armoured infantry, not having lots of infantry.
No. I don't mean infantry skewed. I mean, like, how many armies are not running medium and large based infantry, multi-wound,
I'm running one that's got a lot less, but yes. Alright, that's fair. Everybody does. I mean, even Chimera, a bit less, but we do have Cav, so I can't really say we don't have any.
I think, yeah.
What are you saying there?
I think possibly in next January update, I'd like to see a little bit of a skew, a change where we can have more single wound.
Man of War become rubbish. I hear you. Yep.
Man of War Wrecking Crew are already suffering. I think they need to suffer more. But I'd like to see more viability for those single wound models back on the table. Because at the moment it's just like, I move a single wound model forwards. Yeah, and it's dead. I mean, such has been the case for every...
I have multi...
Such has been the case for
in Brines, you have multi wound that behave like single wound. So yeah, it's because the Brine Marauder units, they have the 5 boxes, but they behave more like armor 15, 16 single box, and they just fall over.
And then you've got the Lockerbash brothers.
Oh, they're nice. No, I like those. Them I like.
So much hate.
So good. I love them.
They really are just ridiculous. I read their rules, and then the first time I saw them on the tabletop, it's like, oh, they don't die, and then they just annihilate everything. Cool, fantastic. Oh no. I've got off topic. Yeah, 2 fronts. It's fine. I don't have any serious. I think, even though we're going to get onto the scenario I'm referring to here, I think this is the incursion of Steamroller 2025.
That's just you said that to mess with me. The next one's incursion. What?
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's dull because incursion used to be the boring one, so this is the boring one.
No. I want to explain myself here. If you go down the club, and people just couldn't be bothered to like roll up a scenario or couldn't remember stuff.
No, I see where you're going. Three flags in the middle was easy. We could just do it without looking it up. Yep.
Yeah. I think this is possibly the closest mechanically to that we've got. Yeah, sure, it's got
a... disappeared.
That was only in some versions. Not all.
What, of incursion?
Yeah.
Yeah, true. But
and in some versions it was always a certain flag, and then in others it was random, and then it couldn't be one of them. And then they moved the flags out to the sides, and then they brought them back in again. And, oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, I think this is that kind of scenario. It's one where you can be guaranteed that there will be a game to be played on that table. You can't guarantee that it will be an exciting one where you need to push yourself tactically, where you feel that you're being pushed and pulled to various different corners of the table, because you know that to capture this, you're going to have to send your infantry there. To capture this, you're going to have to send your jacks there. And then you've got a bit in the middle, which is whatever's left of your list can go there. I think
what I'm hearing is we've had 2 other scenarios that have got complicated bits, and this should be complicated, and we can't remember what this bit does, and what does that bit do, and then this one's simple, and you don't like this one because it's too simple.
No, I'm not saying I don't like it. I think it's just fine.
It's fine. I like it. Yeah, it's not the most exciting. I do agree with you. It's all right. I like it. I like playing it. It's fun.
I think it's probably one of the more balanced ones in the pack. That's all I've got to say. So, should we move on to the final scenario?
Yep.
Best laid plans.
Well, I haven't actually crossed it out in incursion, but I think I should.
Yeah, this is incursion in all but name.
If you've been playing the game long enough.
Yeah. So there used to be a scenario called incursion. It had 3 flags on the centre line that, in various iterations, either scored 1 or 2.
So flags that you put on terrain in the centre line, and then
40 mil objectives basically.
I know. Nick knows what they are. Nick understands incursion, don't you, Nick?
No, incursion. I can remember incursion.
Didn't they have
This is incursion, but with more steps.
Did the old flags have weird scoring rules?
I remember 40 mil effective, 40 mil objectives in it. The last version of it had 3 40s that you put down in the middle, across on the centre line, and then you rolled it in a similar time to this, to Best Laid Plans, and you removed one, and then everybody panicked unless you were running something that had massive infantry. Yeah. I might have done that.
But anyway, so this one, you have a home flag, which is roughly centred on the board, a bit outside deployment zone. Then just off-center, looking at each other, you have 2 40s on player 2's left, 2 caches on player 2's right, and then sort of diagonally opposite 50s, roughly centered.
Ish, yeah.
So you have
all the toys.
There's a formatting error in this one, and I hate it. Someone's tried to put a bold tag and spelled it wrong. So you see the HTML, the XML tags on the app. Oh dear. Yeah.
Good, well done.
So you have those extra things. At the end of the second player's first turn, the second player rolls 1d3. On a 1, remove both caches from the game. On a 2, remove both 40 mils from the game. On a 3, remove both 50 mils from the game.
Do you know, last week, for the first time ever playing this scenario, I played it last Thursday, the 50s went away.
I think that's the worst result.
Yeah, that's
what happened. I've never had it before. It's always been one of the outer ones, and you just swing left or right. But we lost the 50s in the middle.
I don't know where I've ever had a game where someone's gone, "Oh, I'm glad the caches have stayed." No one wants. No one wants those caches on the table. No one starts out the game thinking, "Yep, I'm gonna invest my forces in taking those caches."
More caches, please. Mm-hmm.
I mean, so from personal perspective, everything here, other than the disappearing rule, which is the specific gimmick for this scenario, which is kind of fine, everything here kind of behaves as you'd expect. Like, they score a standard number of points, there's nothing moving around, which is fine. The only thing that I would really negatively comment on this scenario is that there is a dead scenario piece that everyone wishes would go away. And I don't know particularly how you solve that.
I find this one nostalgic for the reasons we've already said. Really, I think when I first started playing, because obviously Incursion was around for a long time. Yes, there were variations of it. Yes, It changed a bit. They moved in, they moved out, as you said before. But it's been gone for quite a while, and this has kind of brought it back, and I kind of quite like it. It does make for an interesting scenario. It's very well spread, especially when you use the 50s, having played last week. You end up very, very spread, trying to stop your opponent overloading one side and scoring. It's interesting. And my opponent was surprised it didn't come straight for him and was trying to tempt me to come dive in towards him. And I'm a bit like, no pieces in the middle. There's nothing there. I'm just holding the middle to make sure you don't come straight at me and just bullying one side slightly without being too obvious about it.
The only thing I'd say is, if the 50s go away in the middle, you might as well just write into the rules, remove both battle groups from the game. Because usually with the way that scenario pieces have been laid out, and with the fact that they kind of have to go at each other to stop movement in either direction, it just becomes this kind of, again, a bit of a mosh in the middle of bits of metal hitting each other for no point other than to not move.
I refused to do that in our game because there was no point, so I refused to do it. And so he did tempt me, and he even moved up Plugger into a place where I could charge Plugger, and my response was, I'm going to stick clouds down so you can't see me, and I'm not going to charge Plugger. Because I could have got Plugger with my Cav and one beast, and they probably would have killed Plugger, but he would have utterly removed those with his other jacks. So I would have lost way more than he would have done, and I didn't fancy that exchange. So I stayed back, focused to put a lot of resources towards the 40s on my right, and contested the caches for quite a little while. I did lose my cache in the end, but yeah, and I won on points based on the 40s primarily, and my flag. We were both holding our flags.
I will say that if anything other than the caches goes away, and your cache gets scored, it really feels like this game is taking a hard swing against you. It becomes a very uphill struggle at that point.
I was already way up when he took my cache.
Okay.
So I took both 40s.
I was going to say exactly that, is if the caches stay on the board, there is a strong argument for ignoring it. Your opponent can only score 2 points. They're not going to get points turn after turn after turn. You just ignore that side of the board completely. They get their 2 points, whoop-de-doo. Whereas you then divert your whole force to dominating the 40s and the flags.
Depends on how fast your army can relocate, because there is
an
argument if your army is not yes, Chimera is a quick one, so you're probably okay with that one. If your army is not a quick one, if that cash goes, and they can make a good enough go of, their 2 scenario pieces on top, might already be in a losing position.
Yeah,
I don't know. It very much depends on the 2 armies that are facing each other, I suppose, is the answer there.
It does. And how you've prioritised at the start, and how many points or what level of resilience of units you put into that on the 40s, and what you can contest the cash with for a bit. I think the worst bit for me was I lost the Shades, a 9-point unit, into Black 13, and I lost them. He put everything he had on that flank into killing them, and they died for nothing. I took nothing out. The ambush, and they just died. However, I then stopped him scoring for another 2 turns with the Sorcerer Snake guys, whose name I've only played them once. I can't remember what they're called. They're heavy ranged unit Chimera that you never see.
Yeah.
And they did well. They held them up, and they another 9-point unit held up Black 13th and their sidekicks and accompanying other units. But meanwhile, I had Cav on the 40s scoring it. Cav went into the ranged unit that attacked them, and I held them with lashes, and I scored both 40s twice, 3 times. So it's. I think what Dom said is you bet. I didn't think it through beforehand. I was reacting to the board state, but actually dominating the 40s if the 50s go away is your best chance. I like it. It's a good scenario. I think it's interesting. Unpredictable, but interesting.
Yeah, I think it's. Yeah, it's fine. I think there's. It really does depend on that D3 roll as to how the game goes.
And how you've deployed and approached the game before that as well, because it depends on what you've chosen to do. Yeah. Because interestingly, the lashes that I had moved across the 40s, the lashes initially deployed on my left, opposite the caches, but they got preyed by the Black 13th, so they just ran left. They ran across the board to my right. They ran across because they would just die if the Black 13th would prey on them, so they just ran away. Which then meant I had both my most effective units sat on the 40s, so which helped in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that generally will help.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I think when the pack came out, this was the one I was most excited about, given the randomness, or rather controlled randomness.
Yes.
But actually, having played it a few times, it's not as bad as Colour Guard, but it's down there for me.
I'd say it's probably 3rd, roughly, of the scenarios. I think probably got Trench Warfare and 2 Fronts above it. So I think it's just about in the top half of scenarios. I think, yes, you're right, Colour Guard and, for me, Payload. Like, they're catching down at the bottom. Walls of their heels and this are kind of like the middle. Could swap depending on the day one.
I mean, your rating is basically mine, except swap best laid plans and Payload.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can see why, but I will respectfully disagree.
I see why, but you're wrong.
I said respectfully disagree. Yeah,
you meant it as well, yeah.
So, overall, on this year's Steamroller, I think there's a lot of good there, in that the scenarios they're mostly still good for fun and engaging games. They do force the armies to go to the centre, they do force them to fight, they're varied enough that they're forcing different fights in different games. Some of them push you towards the centre, some of them push you towards the edge, and different army lists will suit different scenarios.
I think the argument against what you were saying before with standardization of rules, and yes, there could be an element of that with the objectives that move a cart and do this. I really like how each scenario has a very different flavour, more than just the mechanical, well, this 50 is here rather than over there. I like the added difference more than the placement difference.
I'd agree with that. But although having said that, I don't disagree that if the 50 on whichever one it was, the moving one, was called car or wagon, and was A50 that had those characteristics, I get that would help remember it. It wouldn't change the scenario conceptually. No, I agree with you, Dom. I like that as well.
I don't disagree with that at all. And having a cart objective absolutely would work.
Yeah, I don't think I'm arguing.
But then you get to the point where, to get the same diversity of things, you just end up with each objective as its own, or each scenario has its own objectives that you don't see in any other one, and you're back to square one about, the 40 in this one is.
I think it's very much a push-pull game in that essence, in that you're trying to provide enough standard pieces that you have the tools to create interesting and varied scenarios, but you're kind of also at the same time trying not to standardize so much that everything tastes of vanilla.
No one likes that.
And I think it is a difficult task to pull off. And, I mean, I do not envy people who design these scenarios, because obviously there's a lot of playtesting that goes in. Some years more than others. Looking at you, Guidons, if anyone remembers that one.
Just about.
The one where Jamie P actually worked out at one of the first events of the year, if I go, I can't remember if it was first or second, I just lose.
That is not fair.
So for those who don't remember, Guidons was one of the first times they messed about with a movable object. I've just realised it's payload.
Oh my god.
Oh no! Yes, so Guidons was the thing where you had like a 50 mil objective that if you controlled it, you moved, and you moved it towards a circular zone, and you had to get into the zone to win.
Wow.
My brain got halfway through the scenario and went, this is payload again.
That's grounds for Jamie P taking the piss out of you, I feel. But moving on.
But yes, I can't remember what con it was at. It was one of the ones in Boston that was early in the year. But yeah, he went to it and went, I just lose if I don't do this. Which, like, if that's one of the first events of the year with the new scenario pack, and someone can instantly go, oh, well, this is winnable off the die roll, it's a bad sign.
It makes for a long year.
I don't think, Privateer didn't let that one stand. They changed that one within a month or two. But I don't think Steam Forge would let that stand either.
No, I agree.
I think if someone actually came out at one of the first events of the year and said, "Oh, hang about, I can break this," they would fix it. Which, I mean, I suppose you could say that, oh yes, that can happen with payload, but that's more of a kind of, you can have a TO unbreak that one. It's not fundamentally broken in text. It's broken in layout, which is a totally different thing to my mind.
User error.
Yeah, I think we need some good testing. I think there's some good basis to go on. I absolutely think there's a couple of scenarios that need to go, but obviously we don't all agree on those.
I mean, I think the same as what you just described with regards to TO. I think Colour Guard. I understand there's a lot of hate for Colour Guard. I'm aware of that before we had this conversation. but I think Colour Guard with I don't mean precisely calculated location of terrain, but I mean quantity of small terrain. I don't mean scatter. I mean not having oversized terrain, having the recommended kind of or something close to it does mitigate Colour Guard. I've not experienced Colour Guard stalling and getting stuck. It does eventually. It happens by turn 5 or whatever it does anyway. But I quite enjoy it. I do understand that I do get the impression I'm in a minority there, not just on this podcast, but in general. But I quite like it. I quite enjoy the way that moves around, providing you've got enough pieces of terrain.
I think that's a key thing for a lot of these. Under an ideal setup in laboratory conditions, I think pretty much all of these are very playable scenarios. It's very much the spherical chickens in a vacuum of wargaming.
I wouldn't go quite that far, but yes, I think if you've got the right setup, yes, that one works.
I'm trying to have a look. Does the current Steamroller actually suggest how many pieces of terrain
I thought it did.
should be used?
I thought it did. I thought it had two different scenarios, two different examples of how to set terrain up and how many pieces. Or is that one bit of that is from...
That might be in the rulebook.
Yeah, I thought there's something in here, but there's some of it's in the rulebook, isn't it?
I mean, obviously there are
yes,
some...
I'm turning pages again.
There are some differences in the rulebook in that there are pieces of terrain that just do not expire for Steamroller, where they do in the rulebook.
Terrain. Battlefield to stretch across the battlefield. Page 14. Descriptions of terrain.
Yeah, I think
Bring
it's in the
plate
rule
guidance on page 14. Yeah, it's there.
Yeah.
4 line of sight blocking pieces of terrain. That's an overall number. There's an overall number somewhere, but maybe the overall number is in the book. There is guidance on what should be there and what there should be too many hazards. Terrain setup method is on 15. So actually, the quadrant setup I've used, and that gives you 12 pieces of terrain. Tells you how to deploy them, not in a random way, but in a broad brushstroke way. So yeah, page 14 and 15 gives you quite clear guidance as 12 pieces of terrain. So if you have 12 pieces of terrain plus some scatter, I think you end up in a good place.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. I think the guideline I've heard certainly for this edition is 12 to 14 people.
Definitely, yeah. From experience of playing it, I think that's the sweet spot, and not have a big woods that counts as 2 and things like that as well. I think that is detrimental.
I think the old recommendation of roughly about the size of a CD, I think that you're probably better off with more smaller pieces of terrain than that these days.
That feels very big. I remember that. That feels very big now. We did just talk about that, didn't we? But yeah. I built troll huts and houses that are about that size, and they feel. I do put them on the table occasionally. They feel big.
Well, I mean, the rulebook suggests that terrain pieces should be maximum 6 inches in length, which is 150 mil. I think CDs are 120.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're same size as them.
Yeah.
The CD is about 5 inches ish.
Yeah, it's colossal. Yeah, colossal
yeah.
base.
So I think probably more like 4 inches across for a piece of terrain is a nicer number and have a good spread of those.
Yeah.
And I think more tiers being how can I put this? Less afraid of some pieces of terrain would probably be good.
I think so. Things like there's a footnote somewhere. I think Dom, you pointed out a little while ago of having some kind of acid or burning kind of element on one side or the other.
There is a stipulation saying there should be at least one hazard on every table.
Yeah.
Which is, again, bringing it back to flags, becomes really fun when your flag is on burning terrain. You have to be in it.
And I've done that. I've walked into fire with my models just to get the score.
In fairness, having Vilkul really helps with that one.
Yeah.
Well, immunity to fire, resistance. Yeah.
Oh no, this is on fire. Well, I guess I'll just live in it then.
Or as one of my other regular members has realised is, oh, you mean this incorporeal model that every Dusk Army takes anyway? They can just stand in that. Fine.
Yeah.
Or this flying model that can actually stand on burning earth without catching fire, because burning earth says if you land, you catch fire, but if you fly above it, you don't.
Yeah. But no, I think overall it benefits the game if you have a selection of terrain that effectively exercises all the advantages and disadvantages of models, sort of at least spread around your selection of tables. So have some dense fog, have some dust devils, have some fire, have some acid, have a storm somewhere, have some tall grass, have some rubble. Have a decent selection, and it's not Mark II with the oh no, we don't put deep water on our tables, sir. That would be silly.
Yes, our warjacks would go out.
Yes.
No, instead, you get me, the completely insane person who goes, you know what this table needs? A river going all the way across it.
Or I've 3D printed all this fire, and I'm going to put fire on all of these bits of terrain. What? The river was good, actually. The river was, I don't think I played on that one, the last event.
I might put the river at the next event.
Yeah, I should have said that out loud. Should I have found myself all in the first game?
Also, no, I was just listening to us.
I don't care. I play Chimera. What the hell do I care about your river?
No, exactly. I was just listening to us talk about the terrain going, I'm just making a real rod for my back for setting up the next tournament. Just... I sat here talking about all this, and I can't not do it now. I have to hold myself to that standard.
Also, as another thing for TOs, don't forget when you have hazards, those aren't just like, oh, this is acidy water. Oh, this is burning earth. No, make a burning building. Make some rubble. Make some rubble that's acidic. Like the rules are there so that you can apply things to other things. Use it.
I didn't think of burning building. Burning trees I've seen. I have seen burning woods.
First game I played had a bunch of burning fog and some acid
I was going to say, I've done Burning Fog before. That's fun.
Oh yeah.
Although that said, if you do get to the point where you're thinking maybe I should include a guard tower, don't.
Nice. True that.
Because
in the centre of the board, in between.
What does it do, Nick? What does it do, Nick? What's it for? How does it work?
Having had a conversation with someone from Steamforged, whose name I shall not
Who we've
say,
definitely not mentioned on this podcast already.
Absolutely not.
No.
Where we had a discussion of what should this be? Should it be a guard tower? And I went, I can't remember the rules for that. And they went, neither can I. Like, that was the sealed deal for me. That was like,
no obstruction.
No one cares. It's just a building. If I was to be brutally honest about the bunker and the guard tower, I think that they were early efforts by PP to get some extra cash for a bit of scenery to go on a table that didn't really receive the rules balancing or love they actually needed. Were released half-cocked, half-thought about, and just went in the bin.
I mean, you're also forgetting there the Soul Cairn and the Ancient Monoliths.
I'm not. I play into it because I like somebody who likes to put it on his table.
I was going to say,
I've
like
never put
most of
them
the player base.
So Soul Cairn, Matt's got one of those. So or has got a proxy for it, and so I've played with that on the table twice now. It's weird. Mm-hmm. It's a hill that grants bonuses to your magic, and it gives you cover if you stand behind it, but gives you elevation if you stand on it. Weird.
Yep. And souls if you can use them.
Yeah. I've played into that. It's an odd thing. He likes it, but Matt does like those kind of. He likes the guard towers as well. He likes those kind of.
He's a narrative gamer.
I think for those sorts of complex pieces of scenario stuff for campaigns and for narrative games, fill your boots, put them on the table, have a great thematic game. Like, do whatever you like with it. But I don't think they have a place in Steamroller.
You just have described our mate down to the ground.
Yeah. Which, like, those sorts of players, they need to exist in basically all games, just as a kind of a counterbalance to the continuous, organised play is the only way to play, blah, 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 crowd, which,
sure.
We don't want to become, but we may sound like sometimes. Yeah.
So, I do like narrative play, and I've played narrative campaigns with him and enjoyed it, especially with most recently, the Shadow and Scum box. We did a mini escalation with just two of us with narrative, with a little bit of mini narrative campaign, for example. However, I like narrative games, but I want to get the only way to play sensibly at an event and competently. And I don't mean top tier, top table, just competently at an event. Is to play Steamroller most of the time, so that you can be competent at Steamroller.
Yeah.
Because we've all got time limitations. Yeah, my children are older now, so they're not at home, they're not that old, but they're not small, running around draining my time as much as they were. But it's still a limited amount of time to play these games. So when I play them, I can play Steamroller almost all the time, because what you want is more time practicing these 6 scenarios for the rules, mainly for the reasons we've laid out between us this evening. You need to, if you want to go to an event, you've got to have played them all a few times at least.
Yeah, it's cultivating them for memory, so you don't need to think about it.
I guarantee that the Welsh Masters, possibly also at War Manchester, but I think it's less likely given the players who are there. There are going to be a good handful of players who will walk in there not having played a Steamroller game since last year, and it's going to be a very unhappy time. I know because I played at least one of them at the last Welsh Masters, and it was brutal. I'd played the scenarios maybe like half a dozen times at that point. I knew enough to be bad at them, but walking to someone who getting fresh eyes on the scenario for that game, it hurts. You do genuinely feel like this is going to be a bad game for you. I'm not going to apologise.
Unless it's Jenkins.
I mean, some might say you have it out for him, but they'd be right.
No, not at all. No way, shape or form.
You sure, Kurt?
No, he's a very, very competent player. He said time out, and I took full advantage of his time out.
Yes.
He'll pull me into the ground next time, I'm quite sure.
Fair enough. Okay, have we gone through everything we need to go through for Steamroller 2025?
I think so. I can't think of anything else we need to add. We've gone through terrain and everything as well. We've gone through around the edges and stuff. I think so.
We've got the half-year report then. It's coming in as okay, but still improvement to be made. Okay, I guess we probably move on to the painting table at this point. So, looking down the list, Dom, what's on your painting table?
This is where I'd say I'm painting my ombre if I had it.
Aww.
Yeah.
Can we cut the violin music at this point, please?
If you like, just put it in the background.
I'm not editing that.
More or less. I've more or less cleared my painting table ready back for the 4th, and I've just not had the motivation to pick up something else instead.
You can practice your turquoise fades and your fire fades, though. You can practice those.
Tell a lie. I have painted because they did the seamless here on the digital sub. I printed out one of them and painted her up, and I'm very pleased with how she has come out. But that's still just one model, and I'm waiting.
Always waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. Kurt, what's on your painting table?
Unsurprisingly, Chimera. I've got the Shiris mini crate model at the moment, well underway. One that you didn't want, but you got sent anyway.
Yes.
The weird sort of demony looking ninja guy, which is actually Shiris. And I've got my second Wyvern that wanted to do something different with and sort of up painting game. So I'm kind of getting into a basic kind of standard. And I want to do some more fancy stuff with that model, I think. And I've also been putting a bit more paint on Trichomerics because I'd like to get Trichomerics on the table with a bit more paint on it and looking a bit better. Ideally, that's pretty much what I'm painting at the minute. Chimera is not an easy faction to paint well, so I definitely felt a bit burnt out on painting a little while ago, but I'm getting back into it again. Trying to find something easy to paint to sort of kick me going again. But yeah, get back into it.
Okay, fair enough. Nick.
Somewhat less of a painting table and more of a construction table at the moment.
I mean, it does.
I've been sharing it on Twitter and Insta as I've been building up the Signal models. So I've been starting with the battle group box, and I've got the advanced command and the is that what they're called? Boxes?
Yeah. Extra expansion? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so I got those to build up.
Okay, cool. You've got all your magnets, and sorting all those out, and gluing yourself to yourself, and magnets to magnets, and
yeah. And eventually we'll get some paint on things, and then maybe we'll get onto a table.
Madness.
Awesome. Mike, how about you? What's in your painting table?
Well, less painting at the moment because, quite frankly, the British heat wave just, oh dear God, I do not wish to paint in this weather at all, whatsoever. I do have stuff I've been assembling, so one of the things I've done is, how best to put this? I dislike the current Space Marine Razorback.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So, the current Space Marine Razorback is the most box standard of all tanks, the Rhino, with a little box on the top that can have a heavy bolter, or a las cannon, or...
I don't think I agree with that. The Razorback is the most bog standard. It's a Rhino that's been converted with extra guns and a little bit less transport. That's not bog standard.
That's what I said. It's the Rhino with a box on top.
It is that, yeah.
Yeah. But this was not the Razorback that I remembered. So the Razorback that I remembered had a weird half-open turret at the top that for some reason had a completely unplayable version of the turret that had two plasma guns on the side for reasons best known only to the sculptor.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
The last cannon and two plasma guns.
Yeah, single last cannon, two plasma guns.
Yeah.
There was no version of the codec. So I decided that I was going to make one of those. So what I did was I bought the current Space Marine Rhino, and I can't remember the name of the model. It is... I've got one here. The Primaris...
Like a tarantula type thing.
the Primaris Firestrike servo turret.
The new version of the tarantula-ish thing. Yeah.
Basically, yes. And with enough chops and changes, I managed to give the Primaris Marine on top some Grey Knight shoulder pads and helmet. And I managed to magnetise the turret, so it sits on top of the Rhino with a little flippy panel, so that I can have it as a Rhino or a Razorback. And I think it works quite well. It looks very stupid, it looks very Space Marine, and yeah, I'm very, very happy with it. I need to build
Are you allowed to put Grey Knights in a Rhino?
Yes.
Oh, just checking.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. For now. Because Because, let's see, as we're recording, it is the 14th of July, and we are within 4 weeks of the new codex. So...
And you've nearly finished your army, of which half of which won't be legal and you have to fiddle with it.
I do know. There's at least one model that I think is going in the bin from that army, and it makes me sad, because for those who are unaware, a lot of older Games Workshop models are in this, I won't say material called Finecast. If you think you've ever had problems with Privateer or Steamforged resins, have experienced nothing. Finecast will crumble to dust between your fingers. It is... when put anywhere...
Don't leave it.
Direct sunlight will just melt the model.
Yeah.
Which is...
I was going to say, don't leave it in the windowsill, ever.
Unbelievable. The best one I've ever seen was one where they reproduced a sprued model in Finecast, but the sprue didn't actually meet, so there was a solid sheet of material between the model and the sprue edge, and they sold it. It's like, what QC did this pass? But yes, so Kaldor Drago, who is the dumbest of all Grey Knight models, and the biggest Mary Sue in existence, or Marty Stew as it were, they will be going in the bin because, hey, Finecast is going. So yeah, I may well have half an army in 6 weeks. So we'll see how that goes.
Sorry to hear that. I'm quite happy the way that my things like, not that I play a lot of 4K, but that my Thousand Suns seem to have survived recent changes more or less. And G-Seal Cult has had very few models have got better and worse, but the army is pretty much just as sound as it was.
I was going to say, your Thousand Suns got a psychic phase back again, so they're quite happy.
Yeah.
Well, not a psychic phase, but psychic back. No. Who knows? Grey Knights might get psychic again.
Well, they are the opposite. They are usually, of recent times, they have been the opposite and mirror of each other, haven't they? So
yes,
it's probably likely.
They decided that instead of psychic for 10th edition, Grey Knights were going to get Uppy Downy as their special rule, which is the most infuriating thing that I've watched people play against with my Grey Knights. It's been hilarious because
Uppy Downy. What do you mean?
Uppy Downy? Oh, you don't know Uppy Downy? Again, we're gonna have to go to 40k rules for this.
I'm not from the Midlands.
So, Uppy Downy is a technical term across a lot of 40k armies, where at some point you get to remove a unit from the board and then put it back in your next turn.
Oh, yes.
Grey Knights, at the end of your turn, well, of the opponent's turn, can pick, depending on game size, up to a certain number of units and models. So at the standard 2,000 points, it's 3 units. So imagine if in War Machine you could pick up 3 units from the board, put them off the board, and then at the start of the next turn, go, okay, I can place these units anywhere where they're not within 6 inches of an opposing model.
Hasn't everybody who had 3 units who could do that pretty much gone down to 1? So like G-Seal Cult could do that with 3 units on their index, and that's changed. They can't do as much of it as they could. They go underground.
They may have done. For Grey Knights, it was changed from being within 3 inches to within 6.
Okay, so you can come back, but it's not as bad. Okay.
You have to be slightly further away now.
Yeah, but it's not like guaranteed charge distance, is it?
Oh, yeah. But yes, being able to just go, yeah, I need to be on these objectives instead of those ones, so I'll just put my entire army goes over here.
The weirdest thing I have with 40k is I remember the days when it felt like forever between editions. And now, I haven't yet played 10th edition. I think 11's going to be here before I've even played 10th.
Every 3 years, so 11th edition will be next July.
I'd be lucky if I play 40k again by the time we get to that point, because I prioritise War Machine and just don't really play. I play other games, but I don't play. I have 40k. I like 40k, but I don't play it very much.
I will say the cadence for 40k is hideously fast compared to War Machine. Like every 3 years, having to have pretty much all new codexes and an all new book, and then at least I think it's 2 of the last 3 editions have been re-indexing. It's a lot.
8th was the re-index, and then 10th. Yeah. Oh wow, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. See,
yeah.
there is already speculation from at least one person that 11th is going to be a re-index again. Which
I bought no codexes for 10th yet, because I'm played. I bought too many for 9th. I went, what? Why have I done that? So I'm just learning and going, I'm going to play the codexes when they not just because they come out for thousands for the sake of it. If I want to play them, I'll buy it, but not before.
I would say as well in this case, War Machine players, you do not know how good you got it. Because, well, 40k, unless you buy the codex, you do not get the digital rules in the app. You cannot see them. And as well as that, unless you pay for Warhammer Plus, you only get 1 army list.
Yeah.
It is somewhat limited.
That's like living in the Stone Age.
Oh, yeah. No, 40k has seen digital rules and wants no part of it. It took them until midway through this edition to add one button to the army list screen. That means instead of having to scroll through your entire army list and seeing all the available weapons for everything and all the available options, you can now go to the command bunker where you only see the things you've picked for your army list. And it functions more like, well, War Room and the War Machine app does now. All it needs is a damage tracker, and it's kind of there, but still 5 years behind. And I would argue if the War Machine app could function to start tracking things like what turn it is and how many CPs people had scored in-game, that would be another 5 years ahead of the 40k app.
I'd like to talk about the speed of it, which they have said they're going to. That's my biggest bugbear with the War Machine app is this response.
Mm-hmm.
I have an iPad Pro, so I have no problems with it, but I realise that's just me.
So does it not give you delayed clicks on iPad Pro?
No.
Oh.
I also use it on PC where it's very snappy. So
yeah, no, I have it on PC and I do like it on PC, but I'm not using that to track games.
No. Hey,
at
least it supports PC now.
True. Well, as well now. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, the original version weirdly was the streaming version of War Room. If anyone remembers that.
Yeah.
That was very weird. You could put screen. You could see all the cards and stuff, but it was like stream overlays. Very odd. Anyway, I feel we've kind of dragged this one out, and we probably should let people have something of their evening back. Yeah, for a good 50 minutes before midnight.
I've got an AOB just because I want to see a reaction because you're probably not aware of this. Dom's already is aware of this. This is not wargaming. This is more my other pastime. I went wargaming, went down to Tiverton to Dom's club and played War Machine last Thursday, and I did a very silly thing. It's hot at the moment. It has been hot. It's cooler today, but it has been very, very hot. And I like to ride my bike. And 30 degrees is way too hot to ride a bicycle in this country. So I got home late last Thursday, having Friday booked off. Got home, put shopping away that I had brought home and armies and stuff away, and then went out for a bike ride at 11:30 at night. I didn't get home till 7:30 the following morning.
Oh, blimey.
I did 75 miles. I did 75 miles overnight last Thursday. I've never done anything like that before. I've never done an overnight ride.
Interesting.
On my own. Because it's so hot, but I wanted to get some miles in because it's been dropping down. It was weird and an odd experience. I would recommend it. It's really novel. Dead silent and nobody around at a certain point. When you get past 3 a.m, there's always no one up. In the countryside. I know in cities people are up, but in small towns in the country that you're going through, no one around. And I cycled on 11 miles there and back along a trailway or railway line, as included in that as well. And the only people I saw on the trailway were a bunch of teenagers asleep at a gateway that I thought were fly tip rubbish at first, and realised it was like teenagers who crashed out in this gateway. Long grass, comfortable grass, and they were clearly crashed out. I don't know why, whether it's full moon related or they've been just drinking because they finished school at 16. I don't know.
I was going to say, did you see the discarded white lightning bottles or?
I couldn't see anything. I didn't want to inspect too closely in case I would come up.
Fair enough.
But yeah. So 75 miles plus, over 100k in the dark. It was novel. Full moon, saw Venus rise as before the sun. It was lovely. I'd like to do it again. Just working out when. And obviously during summer, it's not something in the winter in the wet. That would be really, really hard. You couldn't do it without it being warm summer's day. Yeah, non-War Machine related content, but yeah.
It probably takes the temperature down to something sane to bike in.
It does. It's nice. Even to the point where about 3 a.m. I put my coat on because I was getting cold on downhills. And so put a lightweight coat, not a thermal or anything, just a waterproof, just to give it an extra layer until it got to like 6 and started warming up again.
I do realise that most of our listeners, from the metrics that I have, are American. Probably like 28 degrees C. That's not that hot. Believe me, it's hot for Britain. We're dying over here. We hit 30 and stuff melts.
We have no air conditioning, and the temperature our houses and buildings are designed in.
Oh,
at the end of the day.
Oh, I have a perfect one for this. So my house is a Victorian single-layer brick-built house. And on the side where there is sun, for my room at least, and the entire front of the house, because it's a terrace, we are the end terrace, there are no windows, which means for the entire day, one wall of my room is just being baked. Which means when the sun goes down, and everything should be getting cooler, that wall is still giving off the heat of the day. After sundown, my room went from 27 to 29 the other day, and I was dying. It's just so horrible. In winter, lovely, but like summer.
Doesn't mean we're any better in winter though, because everything just freezes anyway. We're a land of extremes.
Don't know what you're talking about. We've got about 12 layers of insulation in the loft.
But the weird thing is we're not though. The weird thing is we're not. Everything is mild, so we don't have extreme weather, because we don't have extreme cold and ice and snow for 3 months solid, and because we have a week of 30 degrees and go, oh my god, I'm dying. If we had 3 months of 30 degrees, we'd all buy air conditioning and we'd buy ways to vent our homes. If we had 3 months of ice and snow, if you think about Canada and talking to our, we've all made friends through this game in Canada. This kind of snow that they have there, we'd have snow tires in our garage, and we would prep with snow plows. But we don't, because we're very mild as a country. We don't prep for any of these things because it happens for a week and then it's gone. But it's a week that we go, oh my god, I'm dying.
This one's been a little bit longer than a week, but this is.
Yes, multiples, though, isn't it?
Hottest June on record in the last over
a century. It's the multiple heat waves after each other, isn't it? Yeah.
Like it's July.
I know. We've had 3 heat waves in July. Oh. Anyway, moving on. You've been listening to Elite Cadre, the weather report podcast that doesn't take itself too seriously.
Never.
I've been Mike.
I've been Kurt.
I've been Dom. How do you?
I've been Nick. Yeah.
Say goodbye, Nick.
I think.
Goodbye, Nick.
Bye, Nick.
You've been listening to Elite Cadre, a War Machine podcast. Email us at elitecadrepodcast@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter at elite_cadre. Music provided by Martin de Bont and Symphony of Spectres. For more details on War Machine and its upcoming releases, please visit steamforge.com.